Guardian newspaper, food security, necessity of curtailing post-harvest loss. And seaport rehabilitation, others missing from 38.3 billion naira maritime allocation. And limit of federal power to legalize abortion under 1999 Constitution. Telecoms operators earn 5.3 trillion naira revenue in 2023. And CBN fines 9 banks 1.35 billion naira for not dispensing cash via ATM. And ASU opposes the diversion of TED funds resources as reps push tax reforms. And 50 billion naira budget can't end insecurity, Matawale tells lawmakers. And reps panel folds 286 million naira allocation to 109 foreign missions. Nigerian police threatens litigation, demands apology from Amnesty International. And on politics, Damagun's continues stay in office as PDP chairman illegal, says Ologbondiyan, as a former spokesman of the party. And still staying with the Guardian newspaper, Oyo government assures residents of adequate security. And police arrest Guardian for injuring pupil, another for arson in Osun. Panic as van plunges into Okolo River after armed attack. Sad story there. Lagos Calabar Highway court adjourns hearing on validity of award till January 27. And Lagos introduces eco-learner support for WAEC DECO candidate. And Lagos mandates CCTV on high-rise buildings. Police uncover gun manufacturing factories in Benue State. This is serious. Nigeria, USA signed $2 million broadband study grant. Africa needs regional cooperation, innovative financing to drive energy transition. And to insulate judges' integrity from benevolent executive actions. Opposition cannot regain power without internal reforms. And normalcy returns to Lagos Assembly as GAC okays Obasa's ouster. And Lagos APC clarifies directive on resignation of council chairman. Abia gets first non-indigenous head of service. Akpabio hails sacrifice of military. And on and on and on. So many stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. All right, we move on to the Punch newspaper now. The lead story here: Southwest governors team up against ISWAP elements and bandits. And opposition demands impeach Lagos Speaker's probe. GAC meets assembly leaders. Talking about the new Alaafin of Oyo, Owode gears up for traditional rights. Royal families tackle Makinde. On his ex-queen, others regain freedom after 21-day remand. And police school teachers lament unpaid 33-month salary. And they're talking about this story that broke yesterday. I have no regret, says suspect caught with girlfriend's severed head. Uncertainty over inflation data as MBS website hacks linger. And USSD debt, NCC orders telcos to disconnect 9 banks in January the 27th. Nigeria earns 50 trillion naira from crude oil in 2024. And we move on to the Tribune newspaper now. On inflation, federal government moves to ramp up food production. And customs record 6.105 trillion naira revenue, exceeds target by 20% in 2024. That's according to the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service. And let us rededicate ourselves to fixing Nigeria. Who is saying this? The President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. And on 2025 budget, why we proposed 1.1 billion naira for staff feeding. That's according to JAM. The Nation newspaper is next now. My government working hard to end insecurity, says President Bola Tinubu. And FCCPC, NCC sign MOU to eliminate regulatory gaps in telecoms industry. CBN sanctions 9 banks for holding cash. Why envelope system of funding budget will continue. This is by the Budget Office DG. And on security, ECPA's arrest greatly reduced tension in Southeast. This is according to the CDS, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. And food security, government to recapitalize BOA. We move on to Daily Trust now, and Boko Haram burns church houses in Borno. That's a nice story. Governor Liu moves to revive mining in Sokoto. FG charges 332 new directors on civil service reforms. 10 suspected trafficking victims rescued in Jigawa. And how La Corua terrorists tried to lure detectives with bribe. This is according to the police. And on insecurity, reps move to increase 50 billion naira defense budget. Expatriate others missing as vehicle fleeing kidnappers plunges into river. Oh, sad death. We'll move on to the leadership newspaper. 61 years of DICON, Nigeria still imports military hardware kits. And still staying with the leadership newspaper, Tinubu appoints first female deputy DG of DSS. Ministry, Nigeria, JCI Nigeria, ministry partner to empower youth. We move on to the Vanguard newspaper now. My family and I are safe. Didn't leave LA because of fires. That's according to actress Amotola Jalade. And these are entertainment stories. Faithia Williams rejoices her son graduates with first class from Unilag. Good one there. And so many other entertainment stories there. We move on to The Sun newspaper. Salome Aido says why I killed my girlfriend. Timileyin Ajayi breaks silence. That's a very sad story there. Budget 2025, NAS issues, NPA, FIRS, TC and others. 48 hours to make amend. And Wiki issues 5,481 C of O in 1 year. Federal government Enugu sign host state agreement for 2026 National Sports Festival. An electorate must reject money politics to make Nigeria great, ex-INEC chief. We move on to penpushing.com now. Abia State government appoints Edo State Indigene as head of service. Use your pen as instrument. That's the Ogun State Commissioner for Women Affairs there, telling journalists to do what they know how to do best. And still staying with penpushing.com, Nigeria police demand retraction from Amnesty International over publication of face legal tussle. And the last story here on pen pushing, Nigeria's Anti-Crime Commission extends training support to Liberian counterparts. So many other stories you can find on the pages of penpushing.com.ng. Pen Pushing is a source of authentic news globally. All right, we'll take a short break now. When we return, INA's analyst, Mr. Salman Salami, is already in the studio waiting to lead us in the second half of the show. Please don't go away. It's still newspaper review on Citizen 93.7 FM in Abuja.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọjọ Miliki, ẹ jẹ́ ká jọjọ Miliki, óyá óyá óyá, ẹ jẹ́ ká jọjọ ẹ̀sọ́ pẹ̀lẹ́ níjó wa, óyá óyá óyá.
This is Evangelist Professor Ebenezer Obey. I also enjoy listening to Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Please keep on listening to the soul of the nation. Thank you.
Olúwa mi, mo jáde lọ láti ṣe iṣẹ́ òòjọ́ mi. Ìwọ nìkan lèmi ò mọ̀ lọ́rọ̀ lérò àti níṣẹ́.
Need a lift? Feeling low, bored, or confused?
Wants your dream to brightly glow?
Here is what to do.
Women's Corner is waiting just for you.
Education, work, lifestyle, career, mentorship, and family too.
We will tackle the issues, provide solutions, and see you through. Finding your voice, reaching high, and making an impact. Women's Corner, where knowledge can fly.
Join us every Mondays and Wednesdays at 1 p.m. for inspiring stories and practical advice to reach all your glories.
It's Women's Corner on Citizen 93.7 FM, Abuja.
Woman don't suffer, lower everybody.
Oya o my people, make una come gather here. Which kind tori una wan hear on top radio? Wetin dey catch fire on top social media? Bring am on top Make We Talk Am for Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Monday go reach Thursday, and the time na 5:10 wey be 10 minutes after 5. Make we talk am as e dey be.
The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria is the brainchild of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of Nigerians for a better future through its policies, projects, and programs that are aimed towards lifting the GDP and economic growth of the nation by improving standard of living of the average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. on Citizen FM Radio, 93.7, Labor House, Central Business District, Abuja. Renewed Hope Agenda Radio on 93.7 FM. The future starts today.
We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll all we have, we'll defend.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still Newspaper Review on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja. Yes, this is a second part of the show, and this is where we look at some of the stories in detail. And this is where Ahina's analyst also comes in. Mr. Salmon Salami. Good morning, Mr. Salami.
Very beautiful morning to you, Lawrence, and splendid to our teeming citizen listeners.
All right, talking about our listener, the phone line is open 0903. That's 0903 2229797. Or you call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. You can also call us on WhatsApp, or you can send us a WhatsApp message. We will be glad to read your message. Mr. Salami, it's a memorable day today in Nigeria, and today is that day that the whole country honors its armed forces, members of the armed forces, both living and dead. Armed Forces Remembrance Day. This is how the Guardian newspaper puts that story. Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Better equipment, compensation, prosecution of terrorists, top agenda. Today, in the absence of President Bola Tinubu, who is currently in the United Arab Emirates for the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, Vice President Kashim Shettima is expected to release white pigeons in commemoration of this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Beyond the symbolic annual ritual of remembering the sacrifices of serving soldiers and fallen heroes, the Armed Forces hierarchy has been urged to do all that is possible to de-escalate the insecurity in the country and intensify its counter-terrorism efforts by decisively dismantling operations of Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West African Province. Mr. Salami.
Well, I think Nigerians should be grateful to Almighty God. And we should be grateful too, very appreciative of the fallen heroes. Life is priceless. For someone to willingly give up his life for his motherland or fatherland, as it were, there is no better word for it than to say patriotism. Our gallant soldiers are really making sacrifices to ensure that you and I will sleep with our eyes closed. And I think that they don't deserve anything other than our gratitude. We are grateful to the Nigerian soldiers. We are mindful of what their families are going through. And the government should ensure that they did not die in vain. You can die for your country. It is a honor to die for one's country, provided your death will not be in vain. the cause of Nigeria's country or the cause of Nigeria is not a rotten cause. One can die for a cause, but not a rotten cause. It has not gotten there. There is hope. Quite many of us are incurable optimists, and we believe in this country.
Absolutely.
Not only because we do not have any other country, but because Nigeria is a land where milk and honey continue to flow. God bless this country.
Amen.
R.I.P. our fallen soldiers. May God console those you left behind.
Many ways to appreciate our military men. You don't have to necessarily give them all the money in the world. For little things like respect, when you see soldiers on the road, you drive to a checkpoint, a military checkpoint, and you approach it with courtesy. You see some people so arrogant, forgetting that this men stay there sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 24 hours under the rain and in the sun just to keep security. I always tell people about my experience when I traveled out. I was in an airport in, I think in Sao Paulo sometime in 2012. And all of a sudden, they stopped everybody from moving, and we were like, what's happening? And only for us to notice that a group of young soldiers who were coming in from a military operation outside the country, young boys, and everybody started clapping till they walked out of the airport. I was so moved just to see that sight. And they were clapping and clapping and clapping till all of the last of them left the airport. And when I asked our guide, and he said that's what they do. Anytime they see a group of soldiers, you hail them. You see them in the buses, you wave to them. You tell them that Nigeria is proud of your sacrifice. These are little things that lift the morale of our military men and women. Just like you said, Mrs. Salami, it is not easy to voluntarily sign that paper and say, in event of death, I don't mind. Knowing that you leave your family behind, it's something that you cannot quantify. No amount of money can quantify it, just to make sure that the cause for which they died was not in vain at the end of the day.
Do you know why I'm so happy about what is going on in the military circle today? Because we now have a man who is committed to the welfare and well-being of the officers. On so many occasions, he will go to the theater of war, eat their food, feel their pains, show them empathy, and address them in such a way that they too know that, yes, even if I die, the future is guaranteed. Not only for my immediate family, but for my country. And let us make it happen. Let us make these fallen heroes proud, even in their graves. Let us make this country work. It can work. All it takes is that decision, the commitment, and the pledge that Nigeria must work for all of us.
And I also would want to urge our intellectuals. We also need to document the heroics of the soldiers. There are some stories, especially the ones that have been declassified, that we can teach our young ones to know that, well, when the country was on the verge of serious problems, a certain time in history, certain men and women rose up. Officers, some of them very gallant, they gave their lives. We detail these things. We read because we read about the heroics of other nations, of other countries, how their soldiers were so brave and everything. We have a lot of them in Nigeria. Our young ones need to know about them. Our children need to know about them. Those stories that are declassified, that people need to know that, in this certain community, there is one man who used to be a soldier. He was known all over the country because of his bravery and things like that.
The Yorubas always say that ọmọ tó bá sọ lẹ́nu ó fi àpò ìyà kọrùn. Any child who loses his home has tied onto his neck the bag of pains, the bag of sorrow, the bag of regret. We must not forget where we are coming from. We have history. There are so many gallant officers who laid down their lives so that you and I can live. We are living today because some people pay the price.
We don't need people to write our history for us.
We don't need them.
We don't need foreigners to write our stories for us. We need to tell our own stories.
We should.
All right, Mr. Salome, thank you for that perspective. Let's still talking about security. We move on to the Punch newspaper. Southwest governors team up against ISWAP elements and bandits. States in the Southwest region are strategizing in response to the reported influx of bandits and fighters from the Islamic State's West African province into some of the region's forests. The Punch reported that the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, warned last week that bandits fleeing military operations in the Northwest were seeking refuge in the state. Raising the concern at an event, the governor said, during a security briefing this morning, I learned that some bad elements from the West are relocating here due to the military hit. And Mrs. Sami, this is another confirmation that the terrorists and bandits, and naturally, they will look for escape routes.
There's no respite for the wicked. And I want to believe that we should make Nigeria inhabitable. Not any region at all. We should make it inhabitable for terrorists, for bandits, for non-state actors. And thank God, we will not stop saying it, that we have a visionary command who made the difference. May God help him.
I will say amen to that. All right, we will go back to the Guardian newspaper again now. Fagbemi confirms recovery of $110 million stolen money. And Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, on Tuesday confirmed the return of over $110 million as in asset recovery from various countries. The minister, who did not give the breakdown, including $52 million in recovered asset linked to former Minister of Petroleum Resources. Fagbemi disclosed this during the 2025 budget defense in Abuja. He explained that the ministry has developed a template for most of the agreements and sharing with some state governments in order to help them review contracts, noting that this is where most of the damages and the risk are taking place. Mrs. Salome, sometimes it's ironical that when the Nigerian state decides to pursue the recovery of funds like this, you find elements in the state's concern who will say no money is missing from our state, or some will even go as far as saying, is it your money that is missing? We say that our money is not missing. You know, some of these things sometimes can be depressing.
I've been talking about collective ownership of thieves. Why is it that if X from XY tribe steals money, thing we do is to say, is he the first person? Will he be the first? Will he be the last? What also so? 4 people went to steal. 3 were arrested. He said, why will you arrest all of us? What of the last is this? We should have zero tolerance for immorality. We weren't brought up to respect people because they have money. Those people that we mentioned today, we don't mention their name because they were money bags. Sardauna was not a money bag. Awolowo was not a money bag. Okpara was not a money bag. Nnamdi Azikiwe was not a money bag. They left footprints on the sands of time. They left legacy. They were more concerned about how will I be remembered. And that is what matters in life. Of what use is your houses? Of what use is 752 duplexes? A good name, they say, is better than gold and silver. Let us value those things that matter in life. And those things that matter, they are the intangible things. We know some Nigerians whose acquisitive instinct is legendary. No sooner they go than they are forgotten. Live life on something that will outlive life. Spend your life doing something that will outlive life. We can leave a legacy. All the heroes and the heroines the world over, they're wearing money bags. Die the acquisitive instinct in you. The materialism. Don't be happy eating when your neighbor is hungry.
You're even going far. When your house help is hungry, your gate man is hungry, and you're in the sitting room munching. Say, after all, they're on salary.
Be your brother's keeper. Let love lead. When you allow love to lead, indirectly, you are making peace, and peace will reign in the society. If I know that my brother will take care of me, why will I hold gun against him? I've been saying it that it is our inability to moderate greed that is causing the problem in this country. There's more than enough to take care of our needs.
But not our greed.
Not our greed. That is the problem. It's a vice.
Well, as a society, how do we sometimes, this discussion when it comes around, the first question is that you ask is, who is going to build the cat? Is it the people that will demand for change of attitude, or the leaders that will have a rethink?
I think both. If a man sees a snake and a woman kills it, the important thing is for the snake.
It's dead.
To die.
All right, Salami, let's move on to another story here that has also been generating a lot of interest. That's on the telecom sector. Telecoms operators earned 5.3 trillion naira revenue in 2023. The telecoms operators, yes, we've said that the Nigerian Communications Commission revealed this in the 2023 year-end performance report. The report revealed that the active subscribers also increased from 222 million subscription in 2022 to 214 as at December, with subscriber data consumption exceeding 713 terabytes. These are technical things, but let's go to the meat of the story. According to the NCC, the industry's contributions to the nation's GDP rose to 14% from 13%. The telecoms market witnessed a rise in all financial segments of the market with their contribution. With reference to figures from CBN, the report stated inflow and on and on and on. What is of interest to the average Nigerian is getting
good quality service,
adequate service at an affordable rate. Mr. Salam.
I've been saying it that all we need to do is to love ourselves and love our neighbor and love our country. There is no way. We have regulatory bodies. They can monitor and allow personal interest to override the interest of other Nigerians. It is doable. Why is it that if you call London, US, Canada, and other Western countries, it will be clearer, and there will not be, they won't hear the service is not all these excuses. We can make it work. It is if we are willing, if the willpower is there, if we are intentional, if we are deliberate, and if we prioritize national interest. We must learn to moderate our greed. If we have the right mindset and our attitude is geared towards making Nigeria a better country, we'll have a good society. It is doable. And I think the leadership too, because it permeates. We should lead by example. You don't tell people to fasten their belt when you are loosening yours. That is not the precepts and examples. You must lead by good example and be a model, a role model. That leadership is sacred. It's a duty imposed on you either by yourself or by God, and you are going to give account. We will give account. Able to cater for the welfare and well-being of the people. That is the major reason why we have government. Anything outside it, let's just be our brother's keeper and let love lead.
That's it. And when we are talking about the telecom sector, we also like to emphasize that certain things are involved here, Mr. Salame. One, the operators are in business. Two, the government owes citizens that responsibility to make sure that infrastructure is in place. And if those two things are taken into consideration, when you know that the government has provided that conducive environment for you to do business, then the government can have that authority to enforce certain regulations. Look, we have done this, we have put this in place. You cannot go above this threshold and everything at the end of the day. Because what is essential, Mr. Salame, is that citizens have access to good service. That's it.
Affordable.
That affordable service. That's all they ask for at the end of the day. All right. Still talking about regulations. Let's move from the telecoms to the banking sector. There's this story here. CBN fines 9 banks 1.35 billion naira for not dispensing cash via ATM. The central bank has sanctioned some deposit money banks for failure to disburse cash via automated teller machine during the Yuletide. The Apex Bank said the action was a clear indication of its no-nonsense stance on dry ATM in the country. Statement:
Each of the 9 banks were fined 150 million naira each. To me, it's a token. Given the kind of pains and injury they have inflicted on the people by their nonchalant is this. The 150 million fine they were fined, would the money be given to the people, or the government will keep it, or the CBN will keep it? Because maybe it's an atonement that damages, kind of. Then if those of us who suffered, what is the compensation? I want to believe that there must be adequate compensation and punishment too. We cannot continue to reward bad behavior. There must be, if they know that they will not go away scot-free, they will behave. Punish them and let it serve as deterrent to others. And in any case, we need to know the names of those banks.
All right, Mr. Salabi. Let's move on. Police threaten litigation demand. The Nigerian Police Force has threatened legal actions against Amnesty International over its End Bad Governance protest report. The force response followed an article titled Bloody August. The police demanded an immediate retraction and a public apology from Amnesty International. It argued that the publication spread misleading information regarding the government's handling of the protest and had made it clear that legal steps would be taken if the issue was not addressed. Solomon.
I have a risk in our country. You need to call your calabash a broken one before others begin to let you know that they are more than broken, they are smithing. Why is it that those international NGOs, they always take pleasure in the marketing our country, and you still see some unpatriotic Nigerians supporting them? See what happened in the US. The US judiciary showed clearly that the country matters that America first, without compromising the integrity of their legal system, the judge insisted that he must pass the sentence, but they couched it in such a way that they did not ridicule their president, who will take charge in some few days' time. Balancing act. Balancing act. That is what we need. We should know when to apply the brake. If you hear some people speak about Nigeria, you ask yourself that, is it the same country you are living in? From outside, they will tell you that insecurity in Nigeria has taken, which is a lie.
They say Nigeria is a failed state. And yet you wake up every day.
Their family is the failed one. This country is not a failed state.
Never.
Nigeria will never fail. Rather, it will actualize our manifest potentials. In our own lifetime, we will enjoy this country. The country is good, and the people, Nigerians, are good people. Yes, we can make our country great. Better. United States of Nigeria.
And we should always note the difference between political leaders and the country. Political leaders will come and go. The country remains, whether we like it or not. Nobody is going to be president forever. Nobody is going to be governor forever. Nobody is going to be in the National Assembly forever. If you don't go willingly, you'll be forced to leave.
Let me put it the way our people put it. Shoja go.
Interesting story from Lagos. It's on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Lagos mandates CCTV on high-rise buildings. The closed-circuit television cameras on buildings of 6 floors and above. The State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, said this in a statement. He said property owners will, as a requirement for planning permit, now be mandated to do that. He said the commercial buildings in the state were not exempted from this. Now, Mr. Salami, this is, for me, it's a good development. I think we should extend it to all public buildings in the country.
Lawrence, I make bold to say this today, that send it to an arm of government, that there is the, and it's so simple. We can reduce insecurity to complex problems. Gas stations, when you have it in hotels and you have it in some public places, and they are not working.
I remember. Remember the ones that was contracted to be installed in the FCT. We saw some in streets, and that was the end. They should be working. They should not just be working. They should be connected to the relevant authorities. There should be a data. People should be able to retrieve data when need be. It's not when there is an incident and you now go, they say, this thing stopped working 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You just see only the camera, nothing else.
Do you know that in some countries, at home you have it? And whatever happens, you can retrieve it and just go through it.
You can be watching your home
from your office,
from your phone,
from wherever you can be watching your house, what is going on. You see, I've been saying it that security, you don't see security, you feel security. Security has gone past the physical. It is a digital age, and they have applied technology to enhance security. You don't see gun-wielding men around him, yet you cannot get close to it. You don't see security, you feel security.
And why I'm really insisting that the policy should be extended to all public institutions. The private people know how to take care of themselves. There's hardly any bank you get into today that you will not notice the presence of CCTV cameras. There's hardly any
ATM,
any mansion you go to today that the rich know how to take care of.
Need to prioritize life. Lay premium on life. Unfortunately, life is cheap.
Shouldn't.
It should not. life is very sacrosanct and sacred. You cannot create life. Let's do things to preserve. Lagos is working.
And we hope other states will.
And the leaders, especially the government in Lagos, is delivering the bountiful dividends of democracy. It is visible.
All right, Mr. Salami, let's look at this story before we go. Police uncover gun manufacturing factories in Benue State. The Benue State Command of the Nigerian Police Force says it had uncovered 2 gun manufacturing factories in local government areas of the state. The State Commissioner of Police, Steve Yagbanet, made the disclosure in a statement. He said following the peaceful Christmas and New Year celebration, the command decided to maintain peaceful atmosphere by going after criminals. He stated that through credible information about criminals, Mr. Salami, 2 factories. And before this was eventually burst, we had people who lived.
Say something. And they are not food manufacturing or processing.
And they are not bakeries.
And, oh my God. The greatest enemy of Nigerians are Nigerians. There is no way you can explain this. The fault is not in our stars. It is in ourselves. Unless and until we are prepared to make this country work and allow peace to reign, those who try to protect us, I don't pray they labor in vain.
Amen, amen.
The greatest enemy of any country are the citizens of the country. And by doing so, we are demarketing our country. No matter the number of tours that our leaders make to other countries to attract investors. Investors, they have a way of knowing what is going on in any country without leaving.
Yeah, it's a global village.
Their place. And you convince them until they are convinced. It is their money. And they will not take their money to where they do not believe that the money and even they themselves are safe.
And you see, I was just wondering when I read this story. This is a factory, so it means people work there. And you leave your house in the morning. In your mind, you're going to work. You're working in a place that produces things that are going to harm you. Those equipments can be used against any member of your family. You never can tell. But then we thank God, and this is a thumbs up to men of the Nigerian Police Force for we're wondering what is happening to Nigerians, our young people who do certain things that were unheard of several years. Ajayi, 32-year-old gospel artist at the Nasarawa Police Command, he was arrested for the death of his girlfriend, who is 24, a youth corps member who works in Abuja. Salome was visiting the suspect at his home in New Kashi. He was paraded. He confessed to the from newsmen, and there's a quote here. He said, "It's from me. I got to know from my phone. I saw a chat with other guys on the phone. That was why I decided." Mrs. Sami,
is what? Clearly insane. And I don't really know. When he's cheating, the next thing is to dispatch her to a early grave.
Much, Mrs. Salman Salami. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure.
All right, that's our package on Newspaper Review today.